All right. So about 40 minutes later, or maybe closer to 30 minutes later, we're finally green again. Well, we're not green, but we should be getting going again. Its formation lap will start in 1 minute. I don't think it's raining. It's just damp right now. Looking at, let's see, Sammy Megatuna's car. I'll go over the starting lineup really quickly. All right. Row 11, Max Esterson and Amory Cordial. I'm going from outside to inside. Row 10, Sammy Megatuniv and Kush Miney. Row 9, Keen Shields and John Bennett. Row 8, Oliver Goethe and Alex Dunn. Row 7, Rafael Villagomez and Jack Crawford. Row 6, Pepe Marti, Arvid Lindblad. Row 5, Ritomo Miata, Sebastian Montoya. Row 4, Leonardo Fornaroli and Joshua Dirksen. Row 3, Luke Browning and Dino Bogdanovich. Row 2, Gabriele Mini and Roman Stanek. Row 1, Richard Vershaw and pole sitter Victor Martins. Okay, we should be going we should be going now. All right. So what we're gonna do? Okay, let me look at this again.
It really doesn't take long when race direction decides you're gonna go, and then you need full focus.
So the leaderboard might be behind where my feed is. I'm not gonna look at the leaderboard.
When they go green, you really have to be absolutely on it. Green flag at the end of the pit lane, and out we go again onto the racetrack. Third time lucky, perhaps, for the Formula 2 feature race.
Exactly that. Victor Martins leads us out on to the race circuit behind the safety car for the formation lap. This will be the start of the formation lap in the FIA Formula 2 feature race for the season opener here at Albert Park. Victor Martins ahead of Richard Vershaw, Roman Stanek in third place, Gabriele Mini is fourth, Dino Bogdanovich fifth, then it will be Luke Browning in P6. Joshua Dirksen, our winner yesterday, P7. Leo Fornaroli was on the podium yesterday, he's P8. Sebastian Montoya 9th. Then Ritomo Miata 10th. Just outside the top 10, we've got the two Red Bull Juniors in Lindblad and Marty. Crawford, who did not finish yesterday, is 13th. Villagomez is 14th. Dunn, a hard charger yesterday, in the McLaren livery is 15th, and then Goethe, the other Red Bull Junior, 16th. Bennett is 17th, Shields 18th, Miney 19th, the Alpine Academy driver, then Megatuniv, Cordial and Esterson.
Well, gives you a shiver down your spine watching the rear light up for Luke Browning. This is the area of the circuit that's the trickiest. Mid-corner of turn 6, there looks to be a decent amount of standing water. There's some on the apex of 5 as well. And then the run down, look, it's unsighted between the barriers down towards turn 9. You can see the difficulty, you can see the visibility for the drivers. That's the
challenge. Still, it's visibility isn't great, but it's not raining anymore.
Will be treacherous in these conditions, and that's why drivers will have to have their wits about them in any kind of wet condition. Look at the difference. Look at the advantage of starting the race when they do so out front for Victor Martins. Clear road ahead, and all you've got to do is be the first one in to spot every braking point. Simple as that.
As you mentioned, though, it's getting down to the braking zone for the first time.
Okay, Jack, so we will have only 24 minutes of race from now on, so it will be around 12 laps. The rule of mandatory pit stop from lap 7 only is still on, so we cannot pit before lap 7.
12
So
laps.
getting information a little bit
Oh
more
my.
than we do here.
I don't know how many
This is
points
probably
anyone's
the
going to
correct way
get.
of things. So we'll
Just
go
because
with
so much
down
time has
on
been
that one.
eaten up
So
waiting for
mandatory
weather
pit
to
stop rule is
subside.
always after lap
There
6
go the
in
geese.
the feature race. Even though it is a wet race, they still must make a pit stop. Of course, they don't have to use
What?
the compound.
Damn.
They're on, the wet tyre. The fact they've driven on the wet tyre rescinds that rule, but they have to change at least 2 tyres in a mandatory pit stop. The adjustment of the racing distance, we haven't had the full rundown yet, but it sounds like Dams have.
Yeah, they have, and we get ready for this 12-lap dash in this feature race. That is certainly going to spice things up with pit stops coming at the end of lap 7. Well, towards the front of the field, Victor Martins will be ahead of Richard Verschoor. Third place in that yellow Invicta is Roman Stanek. He took victory here last year. We caught up with the top 3 after qualifying on Friday. Let's start with hearing from the sprint race winner of 2024, Roman Stanek.
Yeah, so looks like it's gonna be a very tricky race because the weather here in Melbourne is changing a lot, and to be honest, I'm good. Quite
Oh,
good
I just
with,
hope they can get going. That way I can actually try to commentate
so
something.
Not a problem for me.
Because
And yeah,
after this, the next race is the Australian Grand Prix at midnight.
we are aiming to win the
Then
race.
2 races on Sunday, the Argentinian Grand Prix for MotoGP, and the Pennzoil 400 for NASCAR.
I hope for some rain. I'm Dutch, so I should aim for rain. But,
Sebring is
even
gonna
if not,
end
I
in
think we have
about
a strong car.
a half hour.
Knowing what to do, controlling everything in the car, having a good radio communication with the team will be key for Sunday.
As you can tell, they were expecting rain, and now they have got it. So they would have had time mentally to get prepared for this challenge coming up. And there we get the helicopter
See,
shot.
of course the
drivers
Porsche is
behind
leading.
the safety car. But now, how do they readjust?
Crown
that
Strike,
to
AO,
a
and
12
Sebastian
lap
Sullivan.
race?
Yeah, so, well, first things first, what every driver will be thinking about as they're sitting behind the wheel now is that first braking zone. So they'll be rehearsing it every time they get there, down to turn 1, just to make sure that they don't throw the race away straight away.
Yeah.
That adds pressure. The shortening of the race distance adds pressure to the start and the restart.
Just
These
don't
drivers
let it get
know in
stupid.
their heart of hearts, it's relatively likely that they're going to
There's
get
a caution
restart,
now
then
at,
there'll be some sort of
Sebring.
incident. So they know that the race is realistically going to be one of nailing several braking points in the early phases of these restarts before there's either another stoppage or there's a gap that grows in the field because the drivers have visibility or they don't. So Martins will be trying, look, both sides of the road down into turn 1, figure out where he wants to be, try the apex 1 lap, try the wide line next lap, try and figure out exactly where I want to hit the brakes and exactly where I want to place the car, not only to be quick enough, but also just to mitigate the risk of a silly little lockup that could cost me a position that's going to be baked in as soon as there is a spin or another safety car or a virtual safety car or another issue. Then they'll be thinking about the pit stop, which is ever more critical in a short race distance because you've got less time after it to recover any kind of error. It's going to be wet in the pit lane. It's the shortest pit lane of the Formula 2 season and one of the tightest pit lanes as well.
All right.
So putting extra pressure on the crews, working in wet conditions, of course. Everything's slippery. The wet conditions are in no way limited to the racetrack, so adding an extra challenge for the mechanics.
It really does. Here we see them coming through now, getting ready to go.
All right. So I don't know if it's going to be a rolling start or a, let's see,
That restart, about that
16
challenge.
minutes.
Oh, and we've got a spinner. That's
Oh.
Red Bull Junior. I wonder
Which
if
one? There's 3 of them,
really good,
I think.
given we are on
There's
board.
Marty, Lindblad, and
And whoever it
the
is
third one.
will try and get back going again. We pick up
Okay, no, it's just so it's out and Goethe. I don't know which one it was though.
Copy, man.
Confirmation of the rain, and
Oh, now it's raining again.
Goethe, who may have had a rotation through that really tricky.
They gotta do something, man. Or they're just not gonna run the feature race and then just have the sprint race with Dirksen, the point leader.
Saw an hour when they went back out on the racetrack. The race time is updated. We're up against the limitation here of all of the furniture that goes around the Formula One Grand Prix. So let's see if we actually manage to get any racing in. The track is treacherous, I must admit. In reality, the safety car, though, picking up a little bit of speed. So let's see.
Yeah.
There's Montoya. Oh, it's a little better than I thought visibility was. Obviously not great.
Sebastian Montoya coming out of that penultimate corner.
Straight away, you can see at least 10 feet in front of you.
Down to turn 1. Victor Martins behind the safety car. The clock is ticking. Bashor Stanek behind him. There is a lot of spray, isn't there?
Man.
Turn 1.
There is a lot of spray. So 15 minutes, 36 seconds on the clock. We'll be counting down the laps for the purposes of racing laps and points. We're going to have to get across that as we get towards the mid-stage of this race, and it's looking more and more tricky. That more and more like we're unlikely to get this race underway. Let's see. Still got 15 minutes to do it. Safety car leading the field around, and we have a red flag again.
Right again. I have no confidence this race will start, which means there'll probably be no points, no race, no winner. I'll see you in 2.5 hours for the F1 race. Damn.